back to another video of Brent Reacts. I'm joined with the lovely Lydia today because she actually wanted to get involved in this one.
Yeah, I'm on my lunch break, so we gotta make it quick.
I'll do my best. So this week we're actually looking at a paranormal team called Paranormal by the Sea. I'm guessing that they're somewhere from the UK because they do have accents, and judging by the building, yeah. So, you ready?
As ready as I'll ever be.
All right, let's get into this. It's just disclaimer, guys. So they don't do a lot wrong when it comes to the investigation. It's really a worldview issue, and some of the things I just can't ignore. But part of the reason why Lydia came is because, well, she wants to try to keep me on track. Because I have a bad habit of doing that. So, without further ado, let's get into this. Alright, here we go. Yes, the suspense. I will say their B-roll and videography is actually pretty good.
Can you hear me? Is the microphone working?
It's right there.
Sweet.
Now, disclaimer, they really haven't told you where they are yet. Obviously, it's a chapel, but I got some issues with some of the stuff that they say. But they've actually only been around, so I think they only have about 1,500 followers, and they've only been around for about a year, so I can't really like hate on them too much, to be honest, and that's not what we do here anyways. But yeah, with that being said, I mean, like, that should give you a little bit of context on why sometimes they just look generally uncomfortable. But anyways. You were talking about that symbol?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll address that here in a minute.
Okay.
So guys, we are just approaching chapel. The night has now fallen. Yeah, it's a very windy night, it's very cold, and we are very, very isolated. So...
Now, Lydia, they're going to say that they're isolated about 15 times in 30 minutes, just so you know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, guys, if you didn't know, they're isolated.
what's Steve up to? Let's see. Steve, hope you're waiting for me.
I am, yeah, I'm not running off. Well, maybe I should. Be an easy escape. But yeah, look at this really old bench, isn't it nice?
It's like crooked, ain't it?
Yeah, it's nice.
Steve, you can like put that... Oh, you can't see if you don't have a torch, do you? It's just it was interfering with me thing.
Whoa.
What?
Look at this.
Oh, wow. What is
It's like
that?
some sort of witch.
All right, first disclaimer.
That's not a witch.
That's not a witch.
That's a crucifix.
Exactly. This symbol right here, guys, okay, what they're going to reveal is that this church was actually built during the Viking Age, if not slightly before. And essentially what that symbol is that you're seeing right there is a representation of Christ on the cross. It's a crucifixion.
Yeah.
But they, did you guys just hear what they said? They said, oh, this must be some witch.
No, it's a clear crucifix.
Just saying. Just saying. And what's even worse, that same symbol is inside the chapel, and they don't even address it. Yeah. Now you guys see why I chose this video.
Don't say that. But witchcraft, think?
Yeah.
Could
No,
be,
it's
no?
not. It's a crucifixion.
Wow. Look at that drawing, guys. See if I can get a better picture of it. Whoa. I keep hearing like someone's behind us, Steve.
Oh, I can hear things as well. But I'm not sure if it's like birds.
Are you nervously laughing?
Oh, it's a nervous laugh, I tell you. My hair's gone all over the show.
Steve, we're isolated. And you're worried.
And number two,
There could
Lydia, they're
potentially
isolated.
be spirits around us and you're worried about your hair. You're joking me right
I
now.
am worried about me.
Or it could be like humans here. That's the worst part, I think. That's what I'm scared of.
But
But yeah, guys, that is strange. If anyone knows actually what that symbol means, please let us know in the comments down below.
Absolutely, I can actually tell you firsthand what that symbol means. It is a early symbol that was used actually during the Anglo-Saxon era. So the reason why it's Anglo-Saxon is because Anglo is the word for English, and Saxon was actually from the Germanic tribes that came from the north down into England, and essentially by the Viking era, the Saxons had completely taken over the territory. And that goes into all of the different kingdoms that existed at the time.
And what's an earlier symbol?
The Shiro. I don't know if you guys can see that or not, but I also have it on there somewhere.
No, you don't have the Shiro.
Don't I? Oh, okay.
No.
Anyways, yeah, that's the first mistake. This symbol is a representation of the church of that era. And again, this is a Christ crucified. That's what this is. The reason why it looks the way that it does is because it was during the Anglo-Saxon era. Going into the Viking Age, this was very, very common to see artwork like this, and why they don't address that, because you see it in the church, and I'll point it out. But it's foolishness at this point, and it only gets worse, unfortunately.
Delicious.
Because yeah, that is not seen that
I've not
before, I
come
don't
across
think.
something like that before.
But on that note, I think we better get to this chapel.
But yeah, we're looking forward to this one tonight, guys. It's going to be a really interesting one for you guys, so we'll catch you on the inside.
No, we won't. So we're going to film as we're walking up, Steve.
Oh, well, all right, that's fine. We won't catch you on the inside, we'll catch you in a minute.
We'll catch you on the outside. Gee, I can see it in the distance.
It's
I'm
freaky.
excited, but oh my God, isn't it creepy?
But do you know what the most important thing is? There's actually sightings of like silhouette spirits actually seem to be here.
Yeah, don't tell.
First of all, I call BS because, again, this is a church that goes back thousands of years at this point, and you're going to find out that they try to. Oh, I'm sorry, Lydia.
Okay.
I'm stepping on her cord. You're going to find out later that they don't have any actual evidence here. It's all hearsay. It's all legends. It's all nothingness.
Well, isn't that what most ghost hunting is? It's all hearsay. It's all people talking and people saying.
To a certain extent, yeah, but like.
I mean,
This is different because of the background of the church.
but it's also the UK, and the things are a lot older over there compared to the US.
Correct.
And here in the US, you know, most of the time it's people talking, and we may have some quote unquote evidence, but
Right.
usually it starts off with people saying, "Hey, I saw."
Yeah,
something
but this
over
is
here."
this is even worse because it's a church historical, like it's a historical church,
a Christian church.
within the confines of church history.
Yeah, so it's a
So-
Christian church.
Exactly. Like that's why I have such an issue with what they're saying, because
But for them to say that that was a witch, that shows their complete ignorance. Like that is basic. Everyone should recognize that symbol. Like that's a universal crucifix. Like that's.
Yep.
That's why I don't understand why they thought.
why they
was
said it was
witch.
a witch already set off.
Yeah, I don't understand.
I don't either.
Unless they've been seriously living under a rock. Like,
I don't.
yeah.
I don't know. I mean, they don't definitely play it safe with their worldview. Let's put it that way.
Gotcha.
Tell me now.
No, they're
Tell me
actually-
when I'm safe and I'm in the church, please, Steve.
Watch this.
Yeah. I will. Thank you. Oh, Steve's so kind. Look at that. It's like a
Slippery.
movie. Look, guys. It's holding my hand and everything.
But
Oh,
yeah.
give me a break.
Thank you. Oh, hang on. Thank you.
But yeah, guys, that if you can see that in the distance,
Oh, yes, you can see it in the distance.
that's tonight's destination.
Destination unknown.
Like
Yeah,
over there to see
exactly.
the.
What were you saying, Lydia? I'm sorry.
I said it was probably really pretty.
Oh well, yeah. I mean, but the other issue here is that they're going to a sacred place, and they
Yeah.
don't do it diligence. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Let's go and find out, shall we? Shall we?
Oh, it's an old,
Like lifeguard thing or
yeah,
something.
it looks like it.
Oh, look
Oh,
at
it's a
that.
watchtower.
And not only is it a watchtower, but here in the United States, we call those hunting blinds.
Yeah, but in the UK, depending on where it was, they didn't necessarily hunting blinds, but for in the UK, they could be watching. If they're by the sea, then they could be watching out for like ships.
Oh,
in the
so
distance.
it's like it's basically kind of like a lighthouse then, to a degree.
Kinda, but I'm not exactly sure. I would have to see it more clearly, but
Well, we can definitely do that.
I wonder if that's haunted.
There
Looks
actually is
unsafe.
something at the bottom of it. There's a
Does,
sign
yeah.
under
Oh,
it
look
that
at
actually
that.
tells you it is right there. Look,
okay.
you see it?
Yeah.
So I don't know why they're making a big deal out of this at all. It's
I mean, it is a random building.
It's a random building, but given the time frame, they were looking for raiders. That's a watchtower that would have been reconstructed for raiders.
Yeah, but it's obviously not from that same time because it looks fairly new.
Well, I mean, they
So-
could have rebuilt it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But yeah, that was for watching for invaders.
Or for people to camp out in, because England does have those in certain
Right,
areas.
right.
People hiking.
Now I don't
through
know how they got permission to go into this little parish chapel, but
I'm not sure the regulations over in England. So.
and again, like, we can't sit here as Americans and understand their laws and vice versa.
Yeah.
You know, so all we can do is speculate. But I think Lydia's right. I think that's a watchtower that possibly reconstructed from that time period, maybe.
Yeah. It's
but-
used for people that are hiking through to camping.
Right. Right.
Anywho.
Who knows? We don't know the laws over there, but
What was that?
It was probably just your imagination. You said
Sounds
that you're
like someone's
isolated
walking
20
behind me, but
themselves
you know,
out here.
close up.
Yeah, and look.
But yeah, this place,
I would have
this
done the
whole
same
grounds
thing.
where we currently
I
are,
will spook
guys, is
myself.
actually.
hang on. Go ahead. I just wanted to pause the video so they can hear what you're saying.
Well, what I'm saying is they're spooking themselves out, but I do the same thing. Even though I'm very familiar with my house, if I go down to the basement when it's dark, I spook myself out. Or if I go outside on the deck, I'll spook myself out. It's you're in the dark, you're isolated. You've said it twice.
Oh, they're gonna say more.
I know, but what I'm saying is they're spooking themselves out, and that's okay. That's fine. But for play. Sorry.
No, you're good. I mean, like, that's, you bring a different element. That's why sometimes I need her on here, because I might be a tad bit brutal sometimes.
Getting closer, and it is, I don't know if anyone knows about moons, but it is just over half a moon tonight. It's not a full moon, even though it looks
That
it
has
in the,
nothing to do with the investigation, so
camera.
that's not relative for
But
what
yeah,
you're
guys,
saying.
look how spooky it is. So
No,
when we say
but
we're
it gives them
isolated,
more of a light.
Yeah,
we
sure.
are isolated. Let me just show you guys. Oh
Three
wow,
times.
look at that from the front, Steve. Jeez, that's spooky, ain't it?
No, it's not.
No,
That is proper spooky.
No, it's
Oh,
really
it
not.
also could be a bat tower.
Wait. It says danger.
It could be
But-
a bat tower.
Oh yeah, that's a thought. I mean, we don't know what that's for, but there's nothing spooky about that.
But-
And yeah, I'm kind of concerned about this structure actually staying up after looking at that.
It's probably
There's
a
a
bat.
crack right there.
Actually, I don't see anywhere to climb up in. It's probably a bat tower.
Oh, there's a ladder right here. That's a ladder.
Oh, then it's probably a bat tower too.
I mean, who knows?
Yeah.
But yeah.
'Cause I thought
Oh
I saw
god,
a
it's
bat in
like you
there,
see an
so-
horror movie, Steve.
Looks like something off of Jaws.
Oh, don't look like something off a horror movie.
But yeah, all where we are currently, this is
Yeah, you
rumoured.
said that 3 times
Yeah,
now,
well, I'm
Steve.
just letting the audience know where we are. This is rumoured.
Oh, guys. Here it is.
All right, for
So
me.
Peter's...
So before she says this, they've already made a couple of mistakes. So what he just said should be concerning for anyone. I'm not looking at their investigation.
See your phone.
Yeah.
Need to
Oh,
look up,
what
look up
for?
something real quick.
Now I don't know why they would go to a place like this entirely, because nothing's really spooky about this location, and they're eventually going to say that, but they're going to say it in a very sly way. Their first mistake here Well, really, their second mistake is basically saying that this place is built on rumors. Bad idea to say that going into an investigation, because if you're making a statement like that, it loses all credibility. Everything that you say after that, quite literally, is invalid because of that first statement that you just made.
What's the name of...
She's about to say it here in a second.
Okay.
Chapel is the oldest working chapel in the UK.
Let me go back just a little bit. I
Built in-
apologize,
Or
guys.
where we are currently, this is.
Lydia's trying to
Yeah,
look
you said
them
that
up.
3 times.
Yeah,
Dusty.
well, I'm just letting the audience know where we are. This is rumoured.
Oh, guys.
Rumor. You guys
Here
caught
it
it.
is.
Said it right there.
St Peter's Chapel is the oldest working
St. Peter's
chapel
Chapel, that's
in
what
the
it is.
UK. Built in AD 654, this
Oh, sorry,
chapel
guys, forgot to
brought
switch the screen back.
Christianity
There we go.
to the East Anglian Saxons. Now, this Anglican Saxon church or chapel is a Grade 1 listed building. But what I find absolutely amazing is some of the brickwork that you see here today is original. So with so much history here, could this place be really haunted, as locals have said? So let's get into why people feel that this chapel is really haunted.
All right. My
Okay.
first thing is that this seems really, really forced from her. But what you got, Lydia?
This chapel is actually still in use.
Yeah, she said that.
Yeah, Thursday morning at 9 a.m. they still hold communion service.
What else were you trying to look up on it?
I was just looking it up.
I think she said it was built in like 546 AD, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong.
Yeah, 653,
Okay,
give
well,
or take.
that's definitely during the Viking Age for sure, without a doubt. And again, like, it's just gonna get worse from their perspective. But what she just said, is it just me or did that seem really, really forced? It didn't seem natural for her talking.
She was probably reading a script of some sort because, I mean, that's what I would do if I was...
Yeah, I mean, that
just
might
me.
be fair, but it just, I don't know. She just seemed really, really uncomfortable in that intro. But let's get back to it, guys.
So one of the rumours is that people have seen silent...
All right, so now you have another situation, and for me, this is strike 3. You're saying rumors. None of their investigation at this point is based on fact.
But that's what a lot of ghost investigators are about. It starts off with rumors. That's what it starts off
Well,
with.
it really should be reflecting the history of the building, and then through that history, you can make some claims through the history, but you can't just go in blind and say, well, these are the rumors. Because I'm going to be honest, that loses credibility for me.
Like I said, that's how most goes.
Yeah, but anyways, not trying to make this video too long today, so I'm trying to
figures just roaming the
myself in
grounds
track.
or this chapel late at night. When people have approached these silent figures, they have just disappeared. But what I find really interesting is they're silent, they don't make any noise. They just wander the grounds or wander the chapel late at night. Who are these people? What are they doing here? And most of all, they appear tonight. There has also been a lot of...
I can tell she did a ton of cuts here because she probably made a ton of mistakes, like with whatever she's doing.
Okay.
Which is fine, you know. I that happens to me all the time, actually. But I fail to understand how shadow figures are relevant.
Well, that's what they're investigating, is these rumors of shadow people. So no one's done ghost investigation into this place yet, from what I can tell.
Oh,
One of
okay.
the first. So that's what they're starting off is rumors, and it's
Still, I mean, there's better ways to do this. You know, because you really, if you're going into that historical of a building, guys, you really need to do the history justice. Okay, it's really, really important that you try to do that.
there's not much history on the building, unfortunately.
Okay, but they could look into the era. They could look into, like, you know, why they picked that specific location. I mean,
They probably picked that specific location because that's.
it is by the sea, so that is
and
fair.
That's probably the area of England that they're located in. So they
I
probably
can't remember
picked,
where they said they were.
So they probably picked a location that was near-ish to where they. In their
I mean,
vicinity.
like I said,
That's what I would do. Like if you and I were
Right.
ghost hunting, I would choose something in Middle Tennessee.
I mean, that's fair, I guess. See, like, this is why I need Lydia sometimes, guys, because I think we're agreeing, but we're also disagreeing. But that's totally fine, you know. That's what makes this important, you know, to have Lydia on here. Because I can just be kind of brash sometimes, which, you know, that brashness is coming from examining their worldview. It's not about their investigation skills. That's not what I'm looking at here. Anyways, let's get back into this.
Reported sightings of the church being lit up late at night with strange lights coming within the chapel. Hopefully we'll witness this tonight. Oh.
Oh, what?
Or are these just rumours?
Yeah,
Sorry.
you kind of already said that. You kind of already told us that it was rumors.
Yeah, she's repeating herself, but she heard something in the background. But that could be anything. It doesn't necessarily have to be a spirit. It's an old building, and they're outside by themselves, isolated, like they said. So.
Well, here's another factor too. Okay, so this building, because it's made out of stone, the floors are stone, the walls are stone, the roof is pretty much stone. Like the whole building is stone. And so if you don't understand a reverb, what that does is it creates a Hall effect. So literally a noise like this, a noise like that exactly would literally echo through the whole entire place.
Yeah.
So it's disorienting, but that is called a Hall effect reverb. And it's really, really tricky to do two things in that type of setting. EVPs and doing a spirit box, which unfortunately they're going to do that. And yeah. Let's just keep going.
Hey guys, we just had some noises from the back. But most recently, there has been sightings of an elderly gentleman who, again, we're not sure if this is true or not. We couldn't find facts, but these are just rumours, that an elderly gentleman was praying here late one evening and unfortunately was found unalived the next morning. Post-mortem results showed that there was an unexplained reason for his unaliving.
Okay, that isn't a whole lot of context to go on. How are we supposed to respond to that?
That they just heard a rumor about this guy praying, and in their worldview, they're trying to investigate if it's something metaphysical that happened or versus a natural response. Because they're not doctors or scientists, they're not addressing it, or police investigators, they're not looking at it from a scientific perspective. They are ghost hunters.
But that is in fact a science, though. It's.
That's what they're investigating it. Oh, well, we heard a rumor. Let's go to this place and see if there's something metaphysical that's going to happen, and we're going to try to poke the bear with what we have.
I think you and I are going to start being on the same page soon. Because they're going to start making a lot of mistakes soon. But I'll agree with what you're saying. I mean, yeah.
Let's just play it for a while.
Yeah.
But tonight, we are here. We are isolated and we are alone. So guys, let's get investigating and see if any of these rumours, myths, or even legends are true. So guys, before we get into the investigation, we would just like to show you 3 experiments that we are going to be running throughout the night. Tonight, we have the bell experiment. If you guys are regular to our channel, you will know that I like using the bell. This bell cannot be manipulated in any way and has to physically be pushed for the bell to go off. So tonight, if that does go off, that could be paranormal activity. Our second experiment, we have got 3 tea light candles in a triangle shape. Now, some of our viewers have requested this experiment, so tonight we're going to put that experiment to the test just for you guys. If one of these get blown out, could it be one of the silent figures that are said to roam this building?
Or it could just be a draft.
Our third experiment tonight is a Bible that is just laid there. Hopefully the Bible will turn a page, and if the pages do turn, could that be the elderly gentleman coming back for one last prayer?
Okay, so...
Okay, this bothers me, okay? And the typically, right, when you have 3 candles in a triangle, okay, now I understand that it was a request from the viewers.
Yeah.
But they're in a church, 1. 2, most of the time, when you see this setup, this very setup that you're seeing here in the occultic world, that is an inversion of the triune God.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you, but I don't know if that's what they're doing. They could be. I don't know their specific worldview, if they're Wiccans or not. I don't know.
It's not clear, but there's just a lot of things that they say and do from this point. In the Bible, if you didn't catch that, the Bible on the screen here, just so you guys can see it, they're saying it's a trigger object.
They're trying to get the old guy that supposedly died there to come back for a prayer. I find that sacrilegious. But from their worldview, that's okay because they're being consistent within their inconsistent worldview. Do I agree with it? No, I do not agree with it.
My problem is this: they have an object that could literally help them. All they have to do is open it up and actually begin to read it.
Well,
all the answers that they're seeking can be revealed within Scripture. Okay, so I'm not going to be as nice at this point because now they're stepping onto my turf. And when you do that, be prepared, because I'm not going to show any mercy for you once you say a Bible is a trigger object. Okay, I'm just going to make that clear right now.
So guys, it's time for the investigation.
After almost 15 minutes,
just a quick one just
30-minute
before
video.
we start our investigation and calling out. While myself and Dolly were actually setting up today, we actually heard a tinging noise. We actually located what we believe could have been the noise. It's like this little safety pin, which was on the table behind me. We've actually put that safety pin back on that table to see if it can happen again. Whether that was paranormal or not, we don't know. It could have been a coincidence. But we put that back up there to see if it can happen again, guys.
Yeah, so that's the reason we've chose these two places to sit. So I'm actually facing the door in case that door wants to mysteriously open by itself. We have latched the door. The door is fully latched. Bearing in mind, we are in a coastal area, so you are going to get a bit of wind. So if that door was to open, I'm not going to be too surprised because it is a bit windy. But we have closed it the best we can. Hasn't opened so far, so
I do acknowledge that
I'll say this about them. When it comes to like I said, when it comes to the investigation side of stuff, I think they're doing it smartly. There's a few things I'm going to point out, in several minutes when they get to it. But I'm going to make this clear, and I think Lydia's going to agree with me on this. I don't have a problem with their investigation whatsoever. My issue is with their worldview and the inconsistencies that they're bringing to the table. Okay, that's my issue.
But if their worldview is inconsistent,
there's things that can't be ignored as to what they say, Lydia.
I know, but at least they're being consistent with their inconsistent worldview.
I don't know about that entirely, but we'll see. I mean,
the wind isn't a big problem for us tonight. And as Steve said, we did hear a pin drop earlier on, which is really weird because they say that you can hear a pin drop because it's so quiet. But yeah, as again, we can't say it's paranormal because we don't know where that pin was when we actually walked in. Maybe it was us just unsettling it, or maybe it just fell off the board. It's one of those pins that you put into the board, so it could have just fallen off, to be fair.
And also, guys, at the front with the static camera, we do have that actually on the tea light candles. And actually on the bell, so hopefully, fingers crossed, we can actually get some activity.
Okay. This is why I'm saying that it's very, very, very much of a bad idea to do EVP or a spirit box because the sound is disorienting throughout the whole building.
Fear cage.
In a way, because they're not going to be able to dictate even where that noise comes from. One, which this is where I'm agreeing with them, but two, it's just a bad idea when you have this type of reverb to try to do any type of spirit box or electro voice phenomenon as they call it.
Yeah.
I don't agree with it either way, but anyways.
Those experiments tonight. So
The experiments are being recorded.
Yeah. Are you ready?
I'm always ready, Steve.
Let's go, guys.
Good evening to any spirits that still roam this beautiful chapel. Tonight, me and my partner come here with nothing but love, light and respect for you. If there is any spirits here tonight with us, please follow the sound of my voice, or if you can see the light that we have provided for you tonight at the front of the altar, please come forward. Go to that light. The light will not hurt you. My voice will not harm you. I'm simply here to see if I can make communication with anybody.
I have a lot
My
of
name is
issues
Dolly.
with what you just said,
My name is
but
Steve.
I'll save
And
it
we
for
are
a
just
while.
paranormal investigators. We hope to talk to people that aren't here in the world that we live in. What was that? What was
I
that?
heard a like a bang.
In the world that we live in. What was that? What was...
All right, just so you all are aware at this point, I don't like it when they do this, because at that point it can be a manipulation tactic. Do I think that they're doing that here? Yes and no.
I think every ghost hunter does it, and whether they do
Yeah,
it maliciously
it's-
as a manipulation tactic,
But
I
it
don't
is, for your viewers, any of you investigators out there, be very cautious doing this, because people these days will literally believe anything that a YouTuber says, or an influencer, or a content creator. And look, that's not what I do, okay? But not to say that people can't say that I'm doing that sometimes. Look, it happens. But one thing that you guys are going to find from me anytime I'm doing these reviews and reaction videos, I'm going to be brutally honest about it. And the statements that she just made were straight occultic. Straight occultic. When you start talking about light and energy and all this, it's straight occultism. You know, and I don't care if she tries to defend that or not. It's still occultism.
Yeah, it is.
What was
I
that?
heard like a bang.
Aren't here in the world that we live in. What was that? What was
I
that?
heard like a bang.
But aren't here.
What were you saying, Lydia?
I just heard echoes.
Well, they claim that there was some sort of noise there, and I'm not denying that, but like, again, with that reverb,
I just hear an echo, like of something.
okay, the guy here, because he was off camera, okay, so he literally could have just tapped with his foot like that, and it would have picked up like that.
Oh yeah.
So, I'm not saying that what they're going through is completely fake. What I am saying is that I'm not convinced that they actually heard anything. Yeah. They're just trying to make a bigger deal out of nothing.
What was that? What was
I
that?
heard like a bang. Was that you that we've just heard? Sounds like it come from the front.
So if there are any spirits here with us tonight, we are not here to harm you, hurt you, or intimidate you. We are simply here to make communication with you.
Okay, when somebody says this, I gotta switch the camera for a second. When somebody says this, we're not here to harm you, we're not here to do anything other than communicate. Okay, what you don't realize is you're talking to something that's not even, generally speaking, okay, I'm in the position in my belief system to believe that things are explained through the supernatural. What do I mean by that? Well, I believe personally that if they're communicating with something that is intelligent, it's strong enough to basically, well, not need to know that information. And think about this for just a second, guys. When you say that, you're almost mocking anything that's there, because they're no longer of this realm. At that point, they're part of the heavenly realm. Now, whether they go to hell or heaven, that's not even what I'm discussing here. But that is just a really, really, to me, a very ignorant statement that people make. You know, I don't know how else to say it other than that. So a lot of people would be better off if they just did the investigation, don't say stupid things like that, and just carry on. I mean, I don't understand why this is a deal. Almost every video that have reviewed up until this point has said something ridiculous like this. What's your thoughts?
That's what they do. They're probably copying each other when it comes to certain verbiage. I'm serious.
Okay.
I mean, when you think about it, they're all using similar verbiage, and that's just what I think.
All right, let's carry on.
Before we move on to any experiments, are you able just to show us that you are here and you can understand us?
Guys, I think this is absolutely ridiculous, but it is what it is.
There are many years of history here. There must be something that roams
Within
in this
our
chapel.
worldview, we believe that people go to heaven or hell because we believe that's what our worldview dictates. We get that from the Bible.
Right.
But their worldview, they may not have actually been shared the truth, the gospel, what we believe. So within their worldview, what they're saying makes perfect sense. Is it wrong? Yes. But within their worldview, them speaking to ghosts and calling them out makes sense. If you look at their symbol, their logo for their channel,
Yeah, I was actually going to point that out because I wasn't paying attention to that.
that shows their worldview. That they're not.
That's not a cross if you guys think
Yeah.
it is. It's not.
They're not Christian. So their worldview is going to reflect that. So what they're doing is consistent within their inconsistent worldview, as I've said before. And is it wrong? Yes. But
Yeah.
that from their perspective, that's what it makes sense to them, and from their perspective.
Yeah. I'm not disagreeing with you on that.
Is it wrong? Yes. Okay, I'm sorry.
Sorry for what? You're just voicing your opinion about it.
There is original brickwork from when it was first built. As Dolly said, we come here with the utmost respect. We're not come here with cruel intentions. We've simply come here just to find the truth, to see if there is something once we've passed.
The ironic thing is the truth is right in front of them in a little book called the Bible. However, their worldview dictates that that's not the truth. So therefore, they're not even going to consider it the truth because in their worldview, it's not the truth.
Agreed. That's actually why I stopped it right here for just a second because, okay, so we can go to Psalm 19, we can go to Proverbs, we can go to Proverbs 26 verses 4 and 5. We can go to all of these different presuppositional arguments, okay? And because those different biblical arguments, the presuppositions within the text of the Bible, basically, it is saying that the only way to achieve understanding, truth, logic, and reason, okay, there's only one way to do that. And that one way to do that is only through the context of Scripture, okay? We are all image bearers of Christ. So what does that mean? That means that we share in some likeness of Christ, okay, but that doesn't mean that we're instantaneous believers. That's not what that means at all. Meaning that we should have general respect for everyone that is a human. We should generally try to love and appreciate one another, okay, but by no means does that mean that you're a believer when you say that. Now, I do agree with what Lydia just said. She had to step out just for a second. If they would just open up that Bible, okay, and actually look at the context from start to finish. Now, as a person who withholds to Reformed theology, we understand, right, that essentially the Old Testament reveals the New Testament. The New Testament reveals the Old Testament. That's just how the Scripture works within the confines of how it was instructed by God for us to be able to use that to understand His aspects of who He is, His attributes. Obviously, there's other names that you could use here, But the attributes of God are the most important thing. And the other issue here is that what they're not realizing is all of the questions that they're trying to ask, quite literally, okay, can be answered within the confines of Scripture. That's one of the biggest problems I have with what they're saying here. Because they're saying that the truth is out there. No, the truth is not out there. It's right in front of you. You just need to take the veil off your eyes and see it for the glory of God. You know, God has given us His written word to instruct us, to teach us, to confine us in a reality that is important. So, again, that's why I'm aggravated by this point as to what they're saying, because any person that claims to be a paranormal investigator, their biggest mistake is not actually looking to the very thing that they can define it. So, let me get off my soapbox here, and let's get back to the video.
Because the country is divided.
I don't know what country they're talking about is divided, but...
So maybe
whatever.
you could go towards one of those 3 lights at the front. Perhaps blow one of them out. Then will we know you are here with us tonight?
Oh God, I just feel really sad.
Yeah.
I feel like there's no way out. I'm getting a feeling of there was no way out.
There's a door right behind you.
There was no way out. That's all I keep hearing in my head. There was no way out.
All right, so now we're into a whole nother issue. I know I just talked about one, but now we're in a whole nother issue. This, as Lydia actually kind of mentioned earlier, this is a metaphysical experience at this point. What she's doing is she's trying to, instead of using doctrine, instead of using truth to stand on, what she's doing is she's relying upon solely on her emotions and her feelings. That's what we call a metaphysical experience. Now with a metaphysical experience, okay, I want you guys to pay attention just for a second here, and we'll get back to it. A metaphysical experience needs to be, instead of defined by feelings and emotions, it needs to be defined by doctrine. If there's no doctrine, okay, no doctrine whatsoever that you're using, then how can this be a reality and based in truth? It's not. It's just emotions and feelings. The charismatic churches do this very thing all the time. They mess with your emotions so they can manipulate you. And so they're both gonna talk about emotions and feelings. For one, I don't care. Okay.
But they came into this chapel with a preconceived notion, based off of a rumor that they heard. So they already have this idea that there's something there. So what she may be feeling is genuine. Is it false?
No, I'm not saying
But-
it's not genuine. That's not what I
Because
was
she
saying
may
at all.
actually feel like there's no way out. Like if I didn't have the worldview that I have now, say if this was for me 10 years ago when my worldview was still very inconsistent, I would have probably had the same reaction that she would have had. But now that...
I think you would have just, if you would have said a statement like that back then, you literally just would have walked out the door that's right behind you.
But 10 years ago, my worldview was different. Now, yes, absolutely. But when I was not a Christian, when my worldview was different, I would have had the same response that she had. So I have to remember that from her perspective. Is it wrong, her worldview inconsistent? And is it not biblical? Is it not truth? Yes.
Okay, but if I don't say that, Lydia, how are people going to understand what it is?
I know, I'm just giving her perspective.
I mean, it's fine to see it from their perspective, but it's not based in reality and truth, so
It's
we
not.
can't really see that as concrete.
No, I can't.
It's not concrete evidence. It's literally just emotions and feelings. And for people like me who analyze worldviews, that's not enough for me to even believe anything that you're saying at this point. This is like the 4th mistake that they've made in well, about 14 minutes. So, I mean, Lydia's giving more credit to them than what I am, and that's fine. That's totally fine. It's just hard for me at this point in my life to actually agree with anybody that's essentially trying to manipulate you through emotions and feelings. I've been through this so many different times, guys, that I've just now became kind of cold towards the idea. And Lydia, has nothing but love and respect for almost everybody that she meets, but I do agree with what Lydia just said. But simultaneously, it's not truth. It's not anything tangible within that's relevant to this investigation. They're there as paranormal investigators to seek out facts and truth, right? Isn't that what they said earlier? Are we seeing that so far? No.
It just makes me feel really sad. That's all I can hear in my head. Is there a spirit here trying to show us something? If there is a spirit here trying to affect me or show me something, please, can you show our audience as well? There are 3 lights at the altar. Is that the altar? It is the altar, isn't it? There are 3 lights.
All right, yet another mistake. The table that they just set. Now, you can't renege on a statement like this. You can't. Excuse me. At one moment, okay, you can't sit there and say, "Oh, well, yeah, it's an altar," and then say, "Wait, no, it's not an altar. It's this." You said it. That's what you believe. They both confirm that. They use that verbiage. So therefore, within their belief system, they believe that that is an altar. So if that is an altar, they have now made offerings on that altar, regardless of what it was originally used for. Would you agree?
Yeah.
Lights at the altar. There are candles. You would have used them back in your
Actually, sorry, I believe that's a font.
font. There is a font at the beginning of the chapel. You would have used those candles. Everyone used them back in the day. Please, are you able to blow one of them out? Or there is a bell, you can see that.
You're not understanding what those candles were used for, but I'll address that here in a minute because they make some pretty foolish statements, and even Lydia knows what I'm about to say is going to be true because she's seen it with her own 2 eyes before. So,
Bell, please, press that bell.
Or maybe if you can't make any noises, maybe you could perhaps show yourself in one of mine or Dolly's cameras, or maybe the camera at the front if you feel more comfortable. Because there are rumours that there...
all right. Let me explain this one more time to any investigator out there that might be actually listening or watching our video here. If you call out a spirit in any capacity, okay, any capacity, and then something happens related to that very call out, you have no authority to freak out at that point. None. Because you've asked it to do that. So, don't freak out is what I'm trying to say. They actually are really professional. You know, I'm not, and again, like, I'm not talking about their professionalism and their investigation, as a whole. My main focus, as I said, is their theological perspective and their worldview related to what they're saying, being in an ancient chapel.
Yeah.
That's my issue. Any thoughts?
There have been silhouettes of spirits seen in this place. So maybe you could show us, manifest yourself.
Is there someone here that's angry? Are you angry?
Not only did they just get dead air, but that's kind of a silly thing to ask, especially in the location that you're in.
We just need to know that we can make communication with you.
For
'Cause
what?
there's so
Even
many
if they do
questions that I
communicate,
have
what's it going to
unanswered.
change?
There's just so many questions and I don't have the answers to them, and I wish I did. That's why.
You do. You remember when you said you put a Bible as a trigger object in the other room on what you called an altar? Okay, you can open that up and read it and actually get answers to all the questions that you're asking. Trust me, you can. And one more thing, if you do that, if that starts to go into your soul, right, and you end up seeking repentance and belief in Christ, well, guess what? Now you can actually be in a local church. And in that local church, you're actually going to be, hopefully, under a sound, preaching, biblical pastor. That's how you get those answers. It's not that as hard as what people make it is, okay? All you have to do is suck up your pride. Because that's ultimately what the issue is pride.
It is. But they're still being consistent with their inconsistent worldview.
I'm not saying they're not. I am not saying they're not, Lydia. It's just context is everything.
By conducting experiments, whether they work, whether they fail, I've tried. And I'm so passionate to make communication with the paranormal that I'm willing to give any experiment, put in
this woman, Dolly, I think is her name. She's being very narcissistic right now. She's trying to make this investigation a personal vendetta. It's not about you. It's not about us. It's about the sole question as a paranormal investigator is simply, do you have evidence? If yes, show the evidence that you have. Let people make their own decisions involved with that particular, whatever you found.
She's seeking the answer that everyone wants. What is the chief end of man? And ultimately, this is what she's going down to seek the answer to that question, what is the chief end of man?
Right.
And the answer is to worship God and glorify Him forever. That is the correct answer. However, a lot of people don't have that worldview. A lot of people were never taught that worldview. So therefore, she's going down a rabbit hole to answer that question by her own means, not by godly means. And this is what it's leading down to. It's like
I mean, but do you agree that she kind of sounds a bit narcissistic here?
well, yeah, all non-Christians are narcissists.
Well, that's also fair. Anyways, let's get back to this video, guys.
And even,
Because, again, we're not trying to make it too long, but, you know.
And I gotta step away, guys. I gotta get back to work. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we're doing this on her lunch break.
Sorry,
so,
guys.
Are you doing that right now?
Yeah, I have to step out.
Okay.
But
No
I'm
worries.
sorry, guys. I love you.
All right, let's, I guess I'm going to solo it unless Lydia has something to say.
I'm sorry.
No, it's all good. But yeah, so with that being said, I mean, like, you heard it from the horse's mouth, guys. I mean, when it comes to like what she's trying to say that she believes here, but it doesn't have any weight. It doesn't have anything that she's able to stand on. So with that being said, it's pretty much pointless to say the things that she's saying, how she's putting herself into the story. That's what we call eisegetical. And your sole purpose as an investigator is to be exegetical, meaning when you show up at a location, okay, your sole point is to gather evidence and let it speak for itself. You should never put anything personal into an investigation, especially in a location like they're in, because it doesn't really hold any weight, and that's the problem. So again, I think their techniques on investigation and the experiments are overall fine, but when you have a worldview that's not consistent enough and it keeps falling on its face because you're talking about your personal presuppositions and your personal feelings and emotions, it does not hold enough weight as far as concerning an investigation. And I would say this about any person, doing investigations, think of an investigation, guys, and I'll say this and then we'll get back to the video. Think of an investigation as if you're investigating a crime or investigating, anything that you're trying to find evidence for. That's the problem, is that if you're not going into an investigation with intentions, now, I think their investigation is fine. My problem is, again, with the worldview, but when you go into an investigation with a personal vendetta, it's never going to be a good situation for you. It will never be a good situation for anyone. And that's what I'm hearing here. And it's unfortunate because, I think people are really hoping that they actually find stuff, but you can't take stuff to a personal level and start beginning to talk about how much you've done and how much that doesn't matter. None of that matters when you're talking about an investigation. So my biggest piece of advice, guys, out there is don't make it personal. Just go in there, do your job, do it to the abilities that you can, and go home. That's it. That's the only option. Okay? So, again, I don't like what's going on here as far as what she's saying. To me, it's very eisegetical and narcissistic, but, I guess that's consistent with her worldview, as Lydia was saying, but I don't know.
Hours and hours of research, because I'm a believer. I get feelings, I get dizzy, I get sickness.
That doesn't matter. None of that matters when you're trying to, again, try to investigate something and trying to do it to a scientific level. That's why you would do experiments, is because you're trying to get a scientific answer for something that is not scientific. It's a supernatural occurrence, okay? They don't go together because a supernatural occurrence can't be measured like that. So, again, I'm going to agree to disagree with her.
And I do believe that I could be sensitive, like a lot of people out there. So
Yeah,
please
falsely.
step forward tonight and let's prove together that the paranormal exists. And you shouldn't be afraid of the paranormal. Please ring the bell.
I'm hearing desperate things coming
Unless
from
you're
her
waiting
voice.
for a question. Because I have a few questions for you tonight. If there is a spirit here, can you see me? Do you see in colour? Do you see in black and white?
Why is that relevant? Why does it matter if a supposed spirit of any kind sees in color or black and white? What's the relevancy to that? That's just... I'm gonna hold my comments for a little bit. Let's put it that way.
Or am I just a light? Or as Steve always says, his theory is that we're a figure of your imagination. And you're
That
living
also
a
makes
separate world
absolutely
to
no
us,
sense.
and the worlds are two crossed, and you cross over.
Okay, so the terminology that she's using here, guys, with the term crossover, that is very, very new age, and she's revealing more of her worldview here, and it's not working for her. It's just not. It's not working for her. It's just globbity-gloop.
Well, yeah, most new age is.
Do you want to hear what she said, or are you
Nah,
good?
it's okay.
Maybe you feel a little bit frightened. Maybe you're hiding in the shadows at the back of the chapel.
Again, that's not relevant.
Please don't
I'm
feel
hiding.
afraid in the
I mean,
place
it's not
where
relevant.
you come to worship. We're just the guests in this beautiful chapel tonight.
Wait. They're just
So if
saying
you could
that they're
please
coming
make
to
yourself known.
Ghosts are coming to worship. No. Okay, if they were true Christians, worshiping in the church, they would not be there. They would be in the celestial city.
Correct.
So them saying ghosts are coming to...
I told you it was going to get worse.
Okay, but to defend them, they may not have, like I said, they may not have been actually taught the truth.
It doesn't matter at this point. That question is not relevant to the investigation.
It's like, okay, whatever.
It's irrelevant. And that's what I'm trying to say here, guys, is that some of their arguments are just not relevant. You know, she's asking if they see in color or black and white. Why does that matter? It's not relevant to your investigation. You're just trying to be eisegetical. You're trying to put your own emotions and feelings and your own understanding, your own presuppositions into something that doesn't need to be there.
But that is a curious question. I mean, I never would have ever thought to ask that type of question.
But it's not relevant.
It's not relevant, but it is curious.
Anyways.
It's like asking a dog if they see in black or white. Is it relevant to anything? No. But am I curious to know? Yeah. I mean,
Whatever.
Oh, this is your house of worship. So please come and show us if you're here, please.
Do you know what? I keep staring at them candles.
I'll keep looking at them candles. I've
aw,
got extremely
what?
cold as well around my legs.
Because
Yeah,
it's
I'm
making
really
sure
cold, but
not
it
one
could
of
be
them
a
blows
draft
out.
coming through the door, because I felt the same. And the fact that we're sitting down, normally we're both walk back. Because this is such a small chapel, and because we have a static at the front, I don't feel like there's needs for us. I mean, if
Guys, this is truly how Lydia is. She does give people, I would say, more benefit of the doubt than I do, but I knew that was going to trigger her as soon as she heard that.
But it's curious, like.
Yeah, but, you know, when they start saying, oh, well, you know, this is a house of worship and, you know, you could be coming back into worship. No, that's not a part of the Christian belief system. Now, there are charismatics and, you know, other sects out there that would disagree, but here's the problem, okay? Before you make any statements disagreeing with me, just look at what I'm saying when it comes to the Pentecostal charismatic, okay? Because it's not sound biblical preaching most of the time. You do every now and again hear them, I would say, being valid, but a lot of what they teach is what they're saying. I'm just going to point it out there.
If anything does happen, we will quickly move the cameras round, but also as well,
Okay.
this is just...
Why, oh why, do so many investigators say, oh, well, you know, if something happens, we'll move the camera around. Here's the problem with that. They'll say this line, and it makes no sense. Did you guys see that? No, because you didn't have your camera in the right direction. It's not that complicated to figure out.
It's another little experiment of mine. If me and Steve are sitting in here, we could come across a spirit vicar. You never know. Rather than just
Actually,
walking
I
around...
do know. I do know that you're not going to come across a spirit vicar. That's literally sacrilegious. I'm dead serious. That's what they just said, Lydia.
Well, didn't I just say that makes no sense if you were a true Christian, you're going to be in the celestial city?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just...
By the way, guys, Lydia is like she's just across from me, like on the other side of my my monitor here.
I didn't go.
So she's only really making remarks about what I'm saying at this point. But if she does hear something that's interesting, I'm sure she'll chime back in. But
Sorry, I had to work.
no need to apologize. But yeah, so you can hear how ridiculous this is. No pastor, if they're a good pastor, if they try to preach biblically, okay, is going to agree with anything that they just said. Anything.
But once again, within their worldview, they don't believe that. And that's...
I don't know if you guys heard what Lydia just said because she's not like in the direct line of the microphone, but she's basically saying, you know, it's consistent with their worldview, and I'm like, yeah, it is, but that's a really stupid claim to make in a lot of ways. But let's get back to this before I waste too much time. I got a bad habit of that, as you guys know.
With our cameras, we don't know if we're frightening spirits. And it's just another theory that I've come up with us moving around and light moving around. They want to come to the light. We have lights on our camera.
That, again, so you're completely taking context of being in the light. That's actually a reference to Christ, by the way. It's from John chapter 1, verse 5. The darkness will never, one, it will never overcome the light that is Christ, and two, it can't comprehend the light of Christ. Okay, so you're misusing an ideal that you're trying to get from somewhere else, but that's what Scripture says. Again, if you read Scripture, if you took the time to do that and understand the context of where you're at, that would make more sense what I just said, but unfortunately, that's just not what's happening here, is it?
Cameras. If we're going all over the place, they're going to think, hang on a minute, I'm trying to follow you and you're just moving about. So we felt if we sit here peacefully, respectfully, and just see if we can hear any noises. Because again, guys, if you've been watching my channel for a long time, you know that I believe the best equipment you can ever use in a paranormal investigation is your ears and your eyes.
I completely disagree. Because your ears and your eyes are always going to deceive you. So in saying that, you're really deceiving yourself if you're going to say that, oh, well, you know, your ears and your eyes are the best devices you could ever use. It's nonsense. It's absolute nonsense.
Because in the words of Ebenezer Scrooge, a blot of mustard and underdone potato could easily mess with your senses.
Yeah.
But that's not the point. The point is you're already under a worldview of going in to this place.
Right.
So you're already freaking yourself out, so to speak.
Yeah, you can't trust your eyes and your ears.
No,
you
no.
can't do that, okay? That's why I'm saying, like, I don't mind the experiments. I really don't. But each device has to be isolated within itself. Okay?
The only thing that you can trust is a camera, because that is an objective, not subjective, because as humans, we are subjective.
Right.
So a camera filming something will give you the objective what happens, unless there's a technical glitch.
Or
But-
it's being faked.
Yes.
And I am not implying that they're faking anything here.
But do you get what I'm saying?
I do, absolutely.
Okay. Sorry. Okay.
And like I said, she's going to keep chiming in where she needs to.
Sorry, guys. I keep on going back and
No,
forth.
it's all good. It's all good. All right, let's get back to this.
There are rumours to be an elderly gentleman that actually, unfortunately, unalived while he was praying. Maybe you're here tonight.
That claim is based on what? I'm waiting. Waiting for you to tell me what that claim is based on. Or is it just a claim? It's just a rumor. Again, is a rumor fact? No. Does Scripture tell us to veer away from rumors? Yes. So again, investigators out there, do not base anything off of hearsay. Okay? Like, again, like, you can talk to the people and you can talk about people who have had experiences, but what they're saying here, that's just, it's inappropriate and it's dangerous at this point. You know, whatever. So that's where I'm at this point.
Would you be able to make yourself known? Maybe by making a knocking noise like this?
If it does it, don't
And
freak
then maybe
out.
I can take a knee and we can do a prayer together.
What on earth? What on earth is he saying right here? Taking a knee and pray together with a supposed story, I guess, of somebody that unalived in this location. That's pretty vague, one. And two, show me documentation.
That's just horrible, too. Like, that makes no sense.
Lydia's right. I don't know if you guys heard her, but she's like, that's horrible. Yeah, it is. There's not enough context here for me to even want to even address this issue. It's just, why would you go to a place like this and say such a foolish thing? This is just downright foolery at this point.
Tomfoolery.
Please come forward. You don't need to be scared. If there's any way we can help, we will try.
They're not scared. There's nothing there because you're in a church. This location is not based, this location, yes, is a church. But the church is not the location. The church is the body of believers, the body of Christ, who are being sanctified in the union together. That is, in fact, the church. So the church is based off of two things. It's based off of the body of Christ, okay, and repentance of sins collectively, and teaching the Word of God. But it's also the simple fact that, you know, what they're talking about here, they're trying to say that this location is, in fact, the church. It's not. It's not. It's the body of believers. It's the saintship of the people within the church. That's what it is. Okay, so you're not going to find anything here because this isn't the church. It's just a location. Got it? Okay, let's move on.
It's weird because that feeling I had like really sadness come over me. Like,
Oh, here we go with her feelings
just couldn't get
again.
out of my head of,
Oh, the Bible does say.
or like it was the only way. It was the only way. And now, and then I got like, I don't know, a bit angry. Felt like angry, and now I just feel like, you know, when you feel like you belong here, just feel like you belong. Like it's peaceful, and you just belong here. It's weird how you can just get mixed emotions at these places. It's so strange. Again, I find that fascinating as well, how you can just get mixed emotions at places. And
Again, your emotions are not relative, okay? They're not relevant to the actual investigation. The only thing that is relevant is what you actually scientifically capture, okay? What it means to be a paranormal investigator, as I've already said, as I've already showed, is several examples of this, is to go into a location, do your best to actually historically represent that location as much as possible with the actual history of that particular location, okay? While simultaneously trying to be as scientific as possible by isolating whatever things that you're going to use. Now, because it was a bell and tea candles and a Bible, they put it all on the same thing. But if they were actually trying to take this scientific seriously, instead of just talk about their emotions all the time, you know, they would have used different devices and tried to isolate them. Now, again, I don't really trust, to be honest, any investigator unless they're truly actually trying to do that. They're trying to build a history, you know, of the location that they're in, while simultaneously, you know, addressing the issues. So I'll be honest, like, when you start talking about metaphysical emotions and feelings, you start to lose credibility after a while. And now this is the second time I've had to say this in a 30-minute video, that she's solely relying upon her feelings and emotions. Now, I do understand that women generally are more emotional than men. And so on one hand, I'm giving her the benefit of the doubt here. You know, she's clearly experiencing something, okay? But again, is that relevant to the actual investigation? That's the question. I'm going to go ahead and say no, because again, it's just feelings and emotions. You're not showing us anything that would lead anybody to believe that this place is even remotely haunted. And again, you're talking about a chapel, okay? The chapel, the location that you're in, is not the church. It is the body of Christ, okay? So again, this isn't relevant, you know, and it's unfortunate and it's sad that she's solely relying upon her emotions to do an investigation. What you should do in this situation, okay, if you get to a point to where you're starting to say things like this, stop the investigation and just say, you know what, we didn't find anything. They honestly could have done that probably 15 minutes ago. And again, like, we're only 20 minutes into this, at least, you know, on their side of the video. Obviously, my video is going to be a little bit longer because I am reacting to it, but yeah, just let's just get back to it.
And it'll be really interesting, guys, because I know a lot of my viewers are paranormal investigators themselves. So if you are a paranormal investigator, or if you're just a viewer, do you get these feelings as well? Because that'll be interesting to know as well, whether
Your feelings don't matter. And I'm saying that in a very loving way, or as loving as I can. When you're a paranormal investigator, you should be looking for the content. You should be looking for the scientific, as I just said, not solely relying upon emotions, because emotions you can't trust. Scripture says that the heart of man is desperately evil and wicked. Who can understand it? So by relying upon your emotions and your feelings, you're revealing your heart, and your heart is being narcissistic at that point. So you guys decide what you think about that.
people are experiencing the same. Because there's much evidence that you can gather on the paranormal. We can all put the evidence together and see if that it is a thing, you know?
I mean, because I believe that a paranormal, well, I'm a bit of a skeptic, but if the paranormal is absolutely true, I believe it isn't just your taps, knocks and bangs. I believe it could possibly be feelings, smells, you know, the way the environment changes in place.
Okay, so this guy is actually switching the narrative, and I don't even know if he realized that he did it. He's trying to say that the five senses, basically, you know, the smell, touch, hear, see, taste, along with having an emotional response is in fact paranormal. It's not. It's just, it really what it is a metaphysical event. And now, I'm not going to discredit what they may be experiencing here, but again, feelings. If you're serious about paranormal, being a paranormal investigator, keyword investigator. Okay, I don't know any criminal investigator or any person who has done any type of investigative journalism or anything like that. I don't know any of them, okay, that respond on emotion. It's about cold hard facts, okay? So if you're an investigator, you need to rely less on your emotions and your feelings and your thoughts and rely more upon actually getting proper evidence. Because if you were to come up to me, right, if I was your client, if you do that kind of stuff, most of these YouTuber ghost hunters, they don't do that kind of stuff. They go where they want because they can create a narrative of their own. That's why they do that. Most of these guys and ladies out there that do investigations like this, they're not doing it for anyone. They're doing it for themselves, which on one hand, I'm like, okay, that's fine. On the other hand, you got to look at it from the aspect of truth here. Your sole purpose as an investigator, as I've said, is to gather evidence. And if you get to a point to where you're no longer gathering evidence and you're getting to a point to where you're actually putting your personal belief system into it, you have failed at that investigation. Okay? And I don't really care if that hurts, because that is the definition of being an investigator. You're trying to get a scientific understanding and base everything off of facts. Your emotions and your opinions, honestly, they don't matter. They don't. And that's the difference between how I would do an investigation and, several other people that are coming from, I guess the debunker side would, view this. Like, we can't sit here and look at you guys' videos and actually, like, believe 95% of what anybody says, because, again, they're not being scientific. They're not operating within an investigative understanding. They're basing everything off of emotions and feelings. That's my problem. It's my biggest problem. What, you want to hear this part?
Just play.
Places that could have
You want me to rewind it so you can hear what he said?
Paranormal. I just think the paranormal.
What was that again? Are you tapping as you're talking?
No.
They're
You're not
seeing their
shaking
own
your head.
shadows, guys.
Yeah, they're seeing their own shadows, which
As I said, I believe
Exactly
the paranormal
why
is a massive
You can't rely upon
massive
your own
spectrum, and it
understanding
isn't
here.
just you
Well,
taps, knocks and
I get
bangs.
scared of, like,
Everything could have a factor to
I go
play.
down into a-
That's what I believe.
Okay, I'll give the example. When I get off from work now at 5 o'clock, I look down the hall. It is pitch black down there.
It is, guys.
And-
It's very, very hard to get the proper lighting in our house.
But when I first noticed that, I was a little freaked out. Not like, because I was psyching myself out because it was dark. And also knowing me, I'm clumsy and I'll trip over my own oxygen cord. But that's not the point. The point is like, I get it. Mm-hmm. You're freaking yourself out. It's all cool.
That's exactly why you can't rely upon your eyes and ears. That's exactly what I'm saying here.
Exactly.
I've been nothing but truthful with you guys this whole entire video, and the fact that
I'm just nice about it.
Lydia's a lot nicer about it. She really is. But the reason why I'm being so kind of ruthless is because you're making claims and you're saying things that just, it's not relevant. Mm-hmm. Your emotions, your opinions, your views, none of that matters when you attach investigator to the back end of that. Okay? Don't use the word investigation, if you're not going to actually do any actual investigation. Which again is based off of facts. It's based off of actual sources. It's based off of things that can tangibly explain things. Like an investigative journalist. Like a criminal detective. An investigator. That's where that comes from. So again, just don't use the word if you're not going to do it. Call yourself a ghost hunter. Then you don't have to worry about it. I digress.
You're so goofy, honey.
So, guys, I'm going to go get my Move a minute, Steve. Oh, it is you. I thought I saw a shadow behind me, and I thought to myself, oh no, it's those silent figures.
That's me.
I'm going to go and get my SB7, guys. And I know everyone loves the SB7 spirit
Okay,
box
this is the
section.
dreaded part
So
that
I'm
I
gonna
don't
get-
like at all. She's getting an SB7. For those of you that don't know what an SB7 is, it is a spirit box. Now, she is claiming here that she has customized or modded this particular investigation tool that they're about to use in a way that it doesn't actually scan radio stations. I call BS, because that's exactly how they function. So when it's scanning and it's going through that whole white noise, what do you guys think that is? It's a radio frequency. So I'm not going to say she's faking it here, but that's a really, really dumb claim. Especially if you're trying to say, oh, well, I can use my SB7 as evidence. Well, no, you can't. If you're going to say that you've tried to mod it to not do the very function that it's supposed to do. That's just nonsense at this point. I mean, yeah.
And by the way, that was a ghost.
Our door's not completely shut, so I'm gonna play this and I'll come right back, guys.
That we are in the middle of nowhere. We have took the aerial out, as you guys know. We've modified it so no radio stations can come through. Again, I do not say that my SB7 box is proof of the paranormal. Never said that. It's just, again, an experiment. You don't know one of these days that you turn on the SB7 box and we get a full sentence. That would be absolutely amazing. But why not try it, guys? We're in a
Why not try it? Because I have previously mentioned the fact of the acoustics within that. So not only does she actually do this, okay, within a place that I've already told you that has acoustics that's going to continually bounce off the walls and the floor in every which way, she puts the SB7 right next to her stinking microphone. Why? Just set the stupid thing down. That's what I'm referring to, guys, when you're talking about isolation. You need to have these devices isolated. If you hold something like this the whole time, I'm sorry, it's not valid at that point, because how do we know that you're not pushing a button to try to create something? We don't, okay? Just do yourselves a favor. If you're ever and this isn't just going out to them, this is going out to all quote, investigators out there. Okay, don't put any white noise device or any frequency device right next to a microphone in a place that has a Hall effect reverb that's going to continually bounce off the walls, the floor, in every which way. I may have to skip part of this, guys, because I just don't do well with this type of noise anymore. So just bear with me, and I'll try to get through it, the whole thing, but I can't guarantee that I'll be able to. So let's get on with it.
peaceful location, and we're isolated. We're in the middle of nowhere, so
Oh, they said isolated again, by the way.
maybe if there is a spirit here, they're not strong enough
Lydia
to
says
light
that's
the
5.
candle. Maybe they just want to chat to us. So guys, I've got my SB7 box out. Going to do a reverse sweep. I don't think it matters whether you do a reverse or a forward sweep. So spirits, as I explained earlier on,
Put the device down. You're on a bench. Set it on the bench. Take it away from your microphone. It's louder than what it needs to be.
my name is Dolly, and I just want to see if you can speak through this box. I'm not sure how you would. I'm not even sure if spirits are energy. But are you able just to speak through this box to me, please? What is your name?
This is such a waste of time, guys. Like, at this point, it's a waste of time.
If there is a spirit here, can you tell us the year that you're in?
Is it true that this place is haunted by many spirits that roam the ground and this chapel?
I think we've already addressed this several times. I'm going to go ahead and say no, because again, you guys aren't speaking from any actual truth or evidence. You're speaking from people that have made up stuff about this church.
Not necessarily made up.
Well, most of the claims that they're not doing any referencing, Lydia. Like they're not saying where any of these claims came from.
Yeah, they just heard rumors. That's all.
And you can't base anything off of rumors. You have to have some actual evidence and fact behind it to call yourself an investigator. Again.
Yeah, I would think, but yeah.
And guys, if you noticed, I still have my headphones on, but they're completely off my ears right now because I cannot stand this this noise.
I can hear it through.
As you guys know, if you've been following along for the past several months, I have been diagnosed with a functioning neurological disorder, and unfortunately, these type of noises actually trigger movement issues for me, and could actually lead up to me having a non-epileptic seizure. And I'm not trying to do that right now, and I'm definitely not trying to do it today. So I have taken them off my ears slightly because I want to get through this and do it for you guys, but simultaneously health is important, you know. So here we go.
Can you see us? And can you understand us?
Are you scared? Do you need help?
Most importantly, are you at peace?
Are you a male or female? How are you?
Alright, I'm going to point this out real quick, guys. When they try to get a name, most of these, quote, paranormal investigators, when they get a name, they literally beat it over your head. They just keep saying the name over and over and over again, expecting that they're going to get some aspect of result from it. That's literally pretty much the definition of insanity, guys, where you keep doing something over and over and over again expecting a different result, but the result is always the same. I mean, I don't know what I can say about this particular situation here, but it is what it is.
Would you like to come through and communicate? I thought I heard a faint, like, no. But then when you listen to white noise for a long time, you can get noise pareidolia, guys. Do you need our help? Follow the sound of my voice. Follow the white noise. Please communicate. Is there a message you need to give somebody? Let your voice be heard.
Guys, they are so desperate at this point. Like, she's almost begging something to happen. Again, you're in a church, okay? The location is not the church. It's the body of believers that is, in fact, the church. It is the fellowship of the congregation that is, in fact, the church. So take what she's saying and the questions that she's asking with a grain of salt, because I wish I could agree at this point, but I can't. I'm basically to the point of no return when it comes to trying to agree with them, especially trying to do a spirit box session when you don't set the actual device down. You put it right next to your microphone, and on top of that, you have acoustics that are just going to make it that much louder. Okay, it's not necessary. And as you guys are seeing, they're still not getting any. They're not getting any evidence. In fact, they have virtually done almost nothing to actually convince anyone that there's anything in this chapel, which is fine. You know, again, like, I'm not completely dogging them on the aspect of professionalism. It's mostly worldview, but this device in that particular location, it's not really a great idea. I mean, clearly she's doing it, which is fine, but it's not a great idea just because devices like that need to be isolated within the experiment. Yeah, so let's just get back into it, try to finish this out, because we only got about 10 minutes left.
Are you a person of faith? Are you a Christian?
Personally, for me, I do like the SB7 Spirit Box. We've only ever had one, could be paranormal experience. It was in a care home, and it.
I'm very, very glad that that's over with. But yeah, to say that you're going to get any type of evidence, I'll believe it when I actually see it, because most of the time when people use the spirit boxes, it's nothing more to convince you that something is real when it's not. Well, you know, it is what it is. I've seen hundreds of videos at this point, and hundreds of different investigators. Look, I'll be honest, when you get out a spirit box, you're gonna try to manipulate people with that spirit box. So I'm glad it's over. But unfortunately we still have a little bit of time left. So
It did say help very, very clearly.
But
in
did
a
it
very
though?
strange voice as well. Didn't sound like a radio station. Paranormal?
Yeah, right, sure.
Possibly. Unexplained, definitely. But personally for me, I don't believe that, I mean, unless you're really, really, really lucky and you do get paranormal that quickly, that you're going to get anything come through within the first 10, 20. We sat here for half an hour before with the spirit box. You know, possibly the spirit box needs to be left on maybe 24 hours in the church with a static on it. Because, again, with investigations, you can spend 1 hour, 2 hour, 4 hours at a location and get that tiny little...
Wait. So let me get this straight. Y'all are willing to spend 6 hours at a place to come up with nothing? Do you understand how foolish that sounds? Look, if I'm there for like 2 hours, you know, I get all the footage I need to put that I need to get for the time, and I don't get anything after 2 hours, I'm done. I'm peacing out. At that point, all you're trying to do is to try to make yourself look good. You're not doing an investigation at that point. No. Guys, I'll be honest with you. You do not have to spend that much time at any given location. I understand certain locations are bigger. Some of them are smaller. You know, you're not going to always, you know, spend all this time, but it's just nonsense. So for a 30-minute video, let me get this straight. You guys have spent hours at this location. For what? You get to a point to where if you're not getting anything, why continue? And that's why I appreciate guys like Mythos Paranormal. When he gets to a point to where he's like, look, I didn't catch anything, does he continue to film? No. He tells you, hey, I didn't catch anything in this moment, and then he moves on. Like, that's what could be done here. You don't have to spend that much time at any given location. It's just downright foolery. Anyways, a few minutes left, so I'm going to try to keep my mouth shut. Can't guarantee anything.
tap just as you're leaving, and that's enough to make me think, yeah, we've done our job. If we've heard that little, by the way, if you just heard something, it's me rocking on the thing. But yeah, let me know your thoughts, guys, on whether you like the SB7 box, and have any of you had any great results using it.
In fact, I pretty much hate
anything
anything that does that.
Also let me know if you do enjoy the experiments we're using tonight with the 3 candles, the bell.
Why are you defining them as experiments when nothing has happened at all?
Because they're technically an experiment, but they yielded nothing in that experiment.
Fair enough.
book here, Holy Bible, because it's of the church. So
The Bible is not a trigger object. The Bible's not a trigger object. You'll see that if you just take the time to open up the cover, okay, get past the first couple of pages until you see Genesis, and then read from Genesis all the way to Revelation. It's not a trigger object. In fact, it's a tool. It's always been a tool. In fact, it's one of the greatest tools on earth. Okay? So stop calling it a trigger object, because no Bible is a trigger object. Now I'm starting to get a little upset because you keep saying, oh yeah, it's an experiment. No, it's not. The Bible is not an experiment. It's not. Period. End of discussion there.
So you need something that belongs to the church as a trigger object. So
Yeah,
let's know,
BS.
guys, if you
BS.
enjoy any of these experiments tonight and you'd like to see them in future experiments, in videos, sorry. But yeah, sometimes when you're just talking randomly, that's when you can hear things, eh, Steve? So guys, we're going to carry on the rest of the investigation at the other side.
Now, just to point out that scene that you just saw, guys, that was the same symbol inside of the chapel that was outside. They say absolutely nothing about that. Wonder why.
Of the church, just because we've been down one end of the church, so we thought we might as well go to the other end of the church. We're actually by the table with the experiments on. That's still got the pocket 3 on it, so it's still got a
Bible's
camera
not
on
an
it,
experiment,
so if anything
guys.
does happen, we will catch that. We've also got another camera at the side of us, so if anything does happen, that camera is facing the other way. So I think we're all cameraed up.
I think we're covered in all angles.
Yes, we are covered. So
Not going to make a difference, but okay.
we're just going to keep calling out to any spirits that are supposed to roam this chapel on the grounds. There has also been light phenomena that people have seen coming from the chapel windows. Are you able to produce that tonight for us?
All right, so I might have Lydia actually chime in here for a second, because she might be able to explain this better than I can. But a good majority of these old churches and chapels actually have a specific style of windows in them. Okay? You don't need to put those on if you don't want to.
Well,
So they're saying that they get this crazy light phenomena within the church. Okay?
okay.
Did they historically, and like I said, you might be able to answer this better than what I can, did they historically actually use those stained glass windows as a magnification when light hits through those? It basically bounces to the next and so on and so on.
Yes, that could be very well possible, and also stained glass windows were used to tell a story.
So, what's the two things that stained glass windows in these old churches do? Now, we don't know if it's stained glass here or not.
Because it's natural light, you need to have a lot of that natural light, because
Right.
they no electricity, and candles could only last for so long.
Exactly. So, my point is this. That is actually not really a paranormal phenomenon.
It's just natural light.
It's literally just if the church has stained glass windows and light hits it in a specific way, it's going to illuminate the whole church. That's literally why they designed these old ancient churches the way that they did. And even still today, there's many churches that have stained glass windows, and that's the sole purpose of why they're there, is to magnify the light within the church, because a good majority of these churches, as Lydia just said, they didn't have electricity at all. So they had to get a light source from somewhere,
Tell a story.
and also be able to tell a story as to why that church is in that location. So again, it's not paranormal. It's just, I don't know what it is at this point. They seem to think that walking to the other side of the church is going to make a difference, and it's not. But I'll let them try to fight themselves out of a wet paper bag here.
Well, what would be very interesting, maybe you could perhaps go to one of the sources of light, the tea light candles, If you are an old spirit from back in the day, then you will
Lay off the stupid candles, guys. It doesn't make a stinking difference.
actually know these lights, so maybe you could blow one of those out. It would have been a source of light that you would have used because there wouldn't have been no electricity.
Yep. Or if you are strong enough, please may you play the bell. Just
Be careful what you wish for. If it happens, don't freak out.
Little ding.
little ding, yeah. Oh, just thought about what I said. As you see, Spirit, we're not here to harm you. We are, we do have a laugh. Would you like to come in and have a...
If it's a spirit, that's unnecessary to say. Okay? It's unnecessary to say, we're not here to harm you. It's just, yeah. Let's just try to get through this, guys.
a laugh with us? I mean, what you would find funny is scaring us. So, are you able to scare us?
Oh, please do. Please make a mockery out of them. Please, Spirit, actually do that.
I mean, if there is anyone here of faith, I can see on the font at the front there is a lot of candle wax that is all over the font. Maybe that makes you feel angry.
Okay, I gotta have Lydia come back over here again just for a second and I want her to listen to what this guy's about to say as well. And because, this is just absolute nonsense, and I think Lydia's gonna see as to why I get upset. All right, check this out, Lydia.
Are you able to scare us?
Boo.
I mean, if there is anyone here of faith, I can see on the font at the front there is a lot of candle wax that is all over the font. Maybe that makes you feel angry.
What?
Yeah.
Why does that make you feel angry?
Now, you and I both know that what we know as high church, such as the Anglicans, such as the Catholics,
Yeah,
they use candles, and that those candles are used for loved ones. They're prayers for loved ones.
Yeah, which is a sweet, endearing type of thing, but I don't believe in it, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think it's necessary, but
Yeah.
that is a part of their theology.
Yeah.
What do you make out of what he just
first
said?
he said if you're a religious person, you wouldn't be there because you would believe you would be the city.
He does say that.
But I got nothing.
I thought so.
Big, maybe you feel that people have disrespected this?
Yeah, you guys are being absolutely disrespectful
So maybe you
to
could
this parish.
make your anger known by making a noise. Maybe knock on the door at the back of the chapel.
For what? It's not going to prove
Or if
anything.
you could, maybe blow one of the candles out.
Enough with the candles, guys.
Maybe
Seriously,
present
it's not going to
yourself
happen.
in one of the cameras behind myself or Dolly.
I do find churches peaceful. I think the only Munden church was, we were hearing a lot of noises in there. And then St Mary's, where I said, don't touch the camera on the light, and then coincidentally the camera on the light, the light on the camera switched itself off. So that
All right, so let me explain how technology works here, because clearly they don't understand how lights work. Okay, I've had this happen several times, to where lights start to overheat, and when they overheat, they just shut down because, well, it's a safety mechanism within the internal construction of these lights, and that's just how they're designed. It's a safety feature. Now, there's certain lights that don't necessarily have that, like I got a lava lamp over there, okay?
It gets hot.
It gets hot. It gets physically hot to the touch. So
There is no safety mechanism, so yeah.
there is no safety mechanism, but Lydia last night was like, hey, we should probably turn this off for a little bit because it's getting like a little too hot for where it's at. And I was like, all right, that's fine, cool. And then behind me, which you guys aren't going to be able to see right now because it's a little too bright in here, which is a good thing because you guys can finally see me. I have this like little astronaut guy over here that basically illuminates like a nebula with like green stars on the ceiling, and she, generally speaking, we shut that off during the day because you can't really see it anyways. Just forgot to this morning, but that's because lights overheat. It's not paranormal.
It was dark this morning.
It was dark. It was extremely dark this morning, actually. We finally have the beginning stages of winter here in Tennessee, guys, so it explains the hat and the constant long shirts that you guys keep seeing me in. But, you know, it's just not paranormal. That's just you guys not knowing your equipment. And I don't know what else I can say on that. You guys just apparently don't know your own equipment well enough to be able to say, oh, well, maybe it just got overheated and it shut down. That's using logic and reason. When you say, oh, well, a ghost did it, you've lost credibility for me. And like, even though like their investigation itself is fine, just the things that they're saying is just so inconsistent at this point that it's actually kind of torturous to watch even the last couple of minutes here. But we're gonna get through it, guys. We're gonna get through it. So let's get back to this and finish it out, and I'll save my last finishing thoughts for the end of it. So
Incidents could have been paranormal, possibly, but definitely London, I find, is the more.
We did hear some noises there.
If there is spirits there, it has spirit activity. But we find a lot of places what are churches that we do investigate are quite quiet.
Well, they are sacred, peaceful places, so maybe the spirits that used to come to here for their happy times, maybe they have gone to heaven and what they believed in, and they wouldn't be roaming here if they had a belief. Then they're going to believe they're going to go.
well, I'll be darned. You finally said something that actually was logical here. Yeah, I agree with that. Again, the church is not the building. The church is in fact the body of Christ. It is in fact the saints of the church. Now, again, being Reformed, and specifically being a Reformed Baptist, we believe that everyone within the church is a saint. Okay? We're being sanctified through Christ. So, yeah, I agree with him on this, but simultaneously, your understanding is way off.
Go to that place.
It's like our son said, if you're a man of the cloth, why would you come back to a chapel?
Exactly, because you're going to believe
You'll
in.
go to
Exactly.
heaven.
Bravo, you finally guys kind of said something
why
truthful.
would churches or chapels be haunted? Statistically, they wouldn't be, because there's no souls here. When you get buried, your soul's gone.
But then you've got to look back and think to yourself, in the Saxon era when these churches were built, you had the, King Canute come over and invade Britain, and he took over a lot of these places. So
there could be people buried here.
Maybe the shed of victims.
Yeah, that's not unusual. That's in fact historically what has happened. That's why you can still go to many, many churches today, at least in the U.S., and see graveyards of former saints that have now went to the celestial city being buried there on the actual church grounds. I mean, what else can I say about that? Yeah.
Maybe could be here.
Buried
Stuck.
beneath the walls, beneath us, on the grounds.
We don't know, do we? Because they used to do that sort of thing.
So yes, that goes back
Still
to
do.
So that's why they could be haunted. There's just so many theories, and I think there's so many possibilities with the paranormal, if I'm honest.
And I know
Not
this
really,
church
but
does
okay.
have some sort of link to Romans. I'm not quite sure what, but I know there was a link.
So if there was, why didn't you actually find it? Because you can't make open-ended statements like that. So again, if you're going to do an investigation, and this is a shout out to all investigators, not just these guys specifically, put in the work to do the proper research. So again, if this is just some myth or legend that he's talking about, it's not credible and it's not worth even saying. But if there is some type of historical information based off of that with this specific location and the church building, then okay, like say it. But he's just making assumptions at this point based off of previous statements.
And this is this is the second church. Well, this is the first chapel, I believe, that we've investigated that has hauntings. Reported hauntings. We have done another church that is meant to be the most haunted church in Essex. Fortunately, we can't get into it, and unfortunately, it's really hard to investigate because if you get caught, the locals do not like it at all. That's meant to be really haunted. In fact, it's that haunted that they shut it off at Halloween. But we would love to get inside that church, guys, but there's no way we can, unfortunately. But yes, this is the first chapel that we've investigated, and it does have reported hauntings, but unfortunately tonight I don't think we have contacted a spirit, not as yet anyway.
No, I feel we'd have to review the footage because obviously because of the spirit activity that does go on here they're more silent and silhouette figures, so maybe we may have caught something in the camera tonight, so we'll have to review it, and if you guys have seen anything, just drop us a little timestamp and then we can have a little look in the video.
Not only that, we don't know if we've caught a whisper or a voice in any of our cameras or in our DJI pocket things here. We don't know if any of the silent figures have spoken to us tonight or any spirit has spoken to us tonight until we do the review.
But I mean, I don't know about you, I've enjoyed coming to this chapel.
I was just about to say, what's your feelings about this chapel?
I really like the chapel. It's got a lot of history. I do like history, as you know.
Yeah, I do like it when you go to a place and you actually know the history of it, and you can tell your audience the history of it. And
but you barely said anything about the history of this location.
So it might be a case we return back on another time, because obviously, as Dolly says, you can't just investigate a place once. You need to go there 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times.
1,000.
And then you need to analyse the data.
That's a bit of a stretch.
You know, then that one time you may get something, and then you think, oh, I'll go back again, and you could get nothing. It's just potluck.
I don't think it's potluck. I think it's where the spirits want to communicate with you. They might just not like us. But it was strange how I was getting those feelings earlier on. Yeah.
That might have been the way of them showing that they're here. That's all they could do, possibly.
Well, again, there needs to be more research into this, and that's what we'll keep doing. We will keep researching, we will keep doing my experiments, because I absolutely love them. As some have said, scientist Dolly.
Experimental queen.
Yeah, there you go. If you've got any other names for me, guys, do let us know. Drop them in the comments. Let us know.
You don't want one for me.
But yeah, I really do hope that you guys have enjoyed this absolutely beautiful chapel.
And if there are any spirits here, thank you if you have tried to communicate.
All right, so we're gonna stop it there because they're basically just kind of talking and talk at this point. So, what is my final thoughts on this? Well, I'll just say it this way. Some of the stuff that they did, I don't have a huge issue with how they actually did this investigation. My issue was their theological understanding, because there's a lot of problems. And here's the biggest problem that I have. So many people in this younger generation, okay, like I'm old enough to remember life before internet, okay? Lydia's old enough to remember the same. We remember when it was just dial-up. There was none of this, cable stuff going on, in our upbringing. And in fact, neither one of us got a computer until 95 or after, okay? So with that being said, I do remember what it's like to not have technology. And in saying that, though, these younger generations have mastered the art, okay, of using the internet and platforms and stuff like that. Me kind of feeling like I'm an old geezer at this point. I don't know how to do some of the things that they know how to do, just in reality. So there's that factor. And so why am I saying that? Well, I'm saying that for the simple reason that a good majority of these younger people don't actually believe in anything for themselves. What they'll do is they'll hang on every single word of a content creator, of an influencer, of anybody pretty much on the internet, and they'll take that as fact. That's a problem. And so when you are so inconsistent with your actual understanding of what's actually going on, you're basically convincing these the people that are, I'm not going to call them gullible, okay, because I don't think the younger generations are gullible, but they are going to be heavily influenced by what you're saying. So again, like, some of the stuff that they were saying is just downright inconsistent. And of course, he's also talking about history that they didn't even mention, okay? That's a problem, because if you're not going to mention anything that actually has history related to the Romans or anything like that, which, if the church was built in 653 AD, the Romans were out of the picture by that point, okay? The Romans literally fell in like the 2nd century. So where's this claim coming from? You know, all the things that they were doing in this investigation was based off of rumors. There was no facts. And, you know, they said reported hauntings. Who reported it? Okay, because if you're talking about some of the things, they all pretty much can be explained. But we didn't really see that here. We didn't see them explain anything. We didn't see them really talk about the history of this location, of this chapel. So I'm left to go, look, I can only comment on what I know to comment on, and as I said, they're not bad investigators when it comes to wanting to do, experiments, but they need to do a way better job on explaining history and explaining the context as to, okay, well, we're basically speaking in this location just from legends, myths, and hearsay, and that's what makes this dangerous, because there's no actual facts related to this. Lydia, do you have anything else to add real quick?
No, you pretty much said everything.
Okay. Well, with that being said, guys, this video is a little bit longer than what I think either Lydia or myself really wanted to do, but you know what? When we have stuff to say, we have stuff to say. So please, if you guys like this type of content, please smash the like button for us. Please subscribe to the channel. We're trying to basically, we've kind of separated two different things that's going on. I actually recently started I don't have any videos uploaded on there yet, but I started a YouTube channel related to the radio show that I'm doing, which is Whiskey, Tobacco, and Blues. So guys, be on the lookout for that. I'll definitely officially tell you guys when that's been launched. Lydia and I are working on some interesting content for that. So again, this channel is basically based on Lydia and I's vlogs throughout the week, but also, you know, we're trying to show a light where it's consumed by darkness, okay? And with that being said, like I said, we'll see you in the next one.